You know, when we think about a blueprint, we usually picture it building something, I don't know, constructive, like a skyscraper or a bridge or a new piece of technology.
Right, yeah, it's a plan for progress. It's structural, logical, and designed to solve a specific problem.
But, well, what happens when a blueprint is meticulously drawn up to engineer a system of human misery? Like when logic is applied to something fundamentally horrific.
You end up with a structural nightmare, a societal framework so deeply embedded that its foundation lasts for centuries.
Yeah, and welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission for you is exploring the wealthy empires of early West Africa and unpacking the dark, complex evolution of race-based slavery.
And we are pulling our information today directly from Section 1.3 of Chapter 1 from U.S. History.
Exactly. And to help you digest this really heavy material, I'm going to play the inquisitive student today, while one of us plays the lecturer explaining the text.
I will gladly take on the lecturer role. So let's set the scene in West Africa, right before major European contact. Most West Africans lived in these clannish villages where wealth wasn't necessarily tied to land ownership.
Wait, really? What was it tied to then?
Instead, it was measured by dependence, and that included wives, children, and, yes, enslaved people. But as Islam spread across North Africa, it brought unifying trade and legal structures.
Okay, so a major shift.
A huge shift. We see the rise of incredibly wealthy empires like Ghana and Mali, and they were fueled by massive trans-Saharan gold and salt trades.
So to visualize this, these West African empires were basically the booming economic powerhouses of their day, much like the famous medieval European kingdoms rather than just isolated, disconnected villages.
Exactly. I mean, they were the Wall Streets of the 14th century. The Mali Empire was so wealthy that its ruler, Mansa Musa, famously caused massive price inflation in the cities he visited on his pilgrimage to Mecca.
Oh, wow, just by giving away too much gold.
Just by giving it away, they were major, sophisticated players on the global stage. But to understand the history properly, we also have to look at how these societies functioned internally.
Right, we have to look at the darker side.
Yeah. Section 1.3 points out that human bondage wasn't a new concept invented for the Americas. The older African and Arab systems were largely built on debt or famine relief or being taken as a prisoner of war.
So somewhat similar to, like, the European serf system, where people might essentially trade their freedom for starvation relief.
Precisely. And the Arab slave trade even existed long before Islam spread, eventually expanding to include European captives from places like Spain and Italy.
Wait, so if human bondage was a globally practiced tragedy for various reasons, what exactly was the catalyst that changed everything when the Portuguese started exploring the coast in 1444?
Well, that catalyst was the New World mercantilist system. It was an economic model where empires obsessed over extracting maximum wealth through brutal, labor-intensive cash crops.
Like sugar and tobacco, right?
Yeah. Right. And setting up these massive plantations demanded an enormous permanent labor supply.
But their initial plans failed because native peoples tragically perished from disease and overwork.
Yes, and the European indentured servants they brought over were only temporary. They'd work their contract and then they were free. So colonists turned to African labor.
Because they were already skilled in farming?
Skilled in farming, animal husbandry, and they were plentiful due to the existing trades. And crucially, they were easily identifiable by skin color, which prevented escape in a strange land. Furthermore, the Catholic Church frowned upon enslaving fellow Christians, so you get this terrible perfect storm. The textbook illustrates how this system shifted from a temporary condition based on debt to a permanent inherited condition based entirely on race.
Wait, so this means the brutal system of permanent, inherited, race-based slavery wasn't born out of pre-existing biological hatred, but was essentially engineered as a cold, calculated business decision to solve an agricultural labor shortage.
That is the grim reality, yeah. The profitability of the trade, combined with intense colonial labor demands, drove this catastrophic shift. It was an economic equation that forever changed the institution of slavery.
Wow. Understanding this textbook history is just so vital for you as a listener because it reveals how deeply economics can warp human morality.
Yeah, and it shapes societal constructs that can last centuries.
Which brings us back to that dark blueprint we mentioned at the start. If the devastating concept of race-based slavery was ultimately engineered to solve a 16th century colonial labor shortage, what other deeply ingrained social realities today might actually just be the lingering ghosts of past economic blueprints?